Hello everyone, welcome back to the Sea Island channel, where we explore the fascinating world of fishing and bass fishing. In today's video, we will follow experienced fishermen going out to sea on traditional boats to witness with their own eyes the huge catches that will make everyone amazed. One of the most important moments on board, the scene of the net being cast into the deep sea. The fishermen with strong hands and many years of experience are working together in harmony. Each meter of net is released, gently but decisively. From the mighty yellowfin tuna to the sea warriors like swordfish or sailfish, all will be present in this exciting fishing journey. Let's explore right now. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you find it interesting. Let's get started. None other than the giant swordfish with long, sharp beaks like swords, strong bodies struggling in the tank. The fishermen are having to brace themselves, coordinate and pull the net very carefully. Just one strong struggle can tear the net, losing this precious prey. A breathtaking tug of war between man and nature. But in the end, experience and strength won. The swordfish was brought up to the deck amid excited cheers. At sea. Look, it took 4 to 5 people working together, using both their bare hands and their body weight to pull the fish into the tank. The fish was still struggling, wagging its tail as if it wanted to escape one last time, but it wasn't easy. The fishermen persevered, little by little, bringing this precious trophy deep into the hold of the ship, where it would be kept safe until it reached the dock. The sea was rough, the wind was blowing harder, but the fishermen did not falter. The group was pulling the net with all their might, step by step. The net began to rise to the surface and lo. A huge black figure, its dorsal fin erect, its beak sharp. It was definitely another swordfish. With each swift movement, they skillfully pulled the fish onto the deck, though drenched in sweat. No one could hide their satisfied smiles. Each fish was taken out one by one, from the golden mullet to the tuna, mackerel, all were precious gifts from the sea. And lo and behold, another giant swordfish. With its towering dorsal fin and muscular body, it was carefully brought down to the hold like a treasure from the sea. Not only swordfish, a giant stonefish, a dolphin, or even a stingray were caught in the net, making the whole ship marvel at the richness of the sea today. Each large fish weighing tens of kilograms, swordfish, tuna, sailfish, is carefully brought down to the cold storage to preserve its freshness until reaching shore. This is the result of a long day of rolling around in the open sea, full of sweat and camaraderie. Although the journey is arduous, the bright smiles on the fishermen's faces are an affirmation. Every trip is a true conquest. In the vast ocean, this small ship is gradually moving towards the distant sea, a place known as dangerous but full of hope. On the deck, the fisherman stands still, looking ahead, not just at the waves, but also at the livelihood, survival and the wish to return safely with a full hold of fish. The blue sea is vast, but also fierce and harsh, a place where there is no room for hesitation. Even though danger is always lurking, those people are still steadfast, still going out to sea, because they are not only looking for fish, but also looking for the future, looking for meals for their families on the mainland. Look, a huge haul of fish has been pulled onto the deck. Thousands of silver fish glistened as if they were flowing over the deck, and cheers were heard everywhere. Each person, each oar, each pull, everyone was restless, working together like a living machine. The heavy net bags were lifted up with each haul, each ton of fish making everyone who saw them admire. A day at sea, and this is the most worthy reward. It's not just about catching fish, it's about sweat, experience, love of the ocean and life. Looking at the giant baskets of fish being pulled up from the seabed, you will understand why fishing is not only about labor, but also about art and strength. Each batch of fresh fish is scooped up by a specialized crane net, full and heavy like a dream come true after many hours of sailing in the ocean. The fishermen coordinate well, one operates the crane, one holds the rope, one catches the basket, all creating a rhythmic chain of movement, not unlike a production line in the middle of the ocean. Each basket of fish poured into the hold is accompanied by a satisfied smile, because there is nothing more enjoyable than catching a fish and hitting it big like this. Under the dark waters of the deep sea, the fishing nets had been set up in advance and silently spread out like a giant trap waiting for prey. And as expected, each yellowfin tuna, a precious fish famous for its speed and strength, was caught in the net. In the dim light of the night, the fishermen urgently pulled each one into the hole. The fish were still alive, struggling violently, but their strong hands and good coordination controlled them professionally. Fishermen use specialized hooks, with just one precise and decisive pull. The fish is brought straight to the deck in the blink of an eye. It is not just strength, but technique honed over many years at sea. Each hook is like a final stroke, precise, neat and convincing. The waves still beat, the wind still blows, but the spirit of the children of the sea has never weakened. That is how they live, and also how they conquer the ocean. And here, a giant yellowfin tuna has just been brought onto the deck. Just look at it, still struggling fiercely, each powerful kick clearly showing the fierce vitality of this predatory fish. The sunlight shines on the fish's body, shining a sparkling golden color, not only beautiful, but also floating gold in the middle of the ocean. With high nutritional and commercial value, each tuna like this is a truly precious gift for fishermen. And the crystallization of so much effort, technique and perseverance at sea. What a beautiful catch, breathtaking from the hook to the last kick. Late at night in the middle of the sea, when everything is quiet, a dramatic encounter begins. Under the pitch-black water, a giant swordfish is struggling frantically in the net. The lights on the boat reflect off its shimmering silver skin like a living sword in the dark. The fishermen immediately get into position, the ropes are tied, the net is tightened, and each person puts all their strength into pulling up. No one dares to be careless, because just one strong move can tear the net, losing everything. But with experience and courage, they have controlled this giant fish and successfully brought it onto the deck. Each tuna, mackerel, and amberjack was picked out of the net and neatly arranged in groups on the deck. The atmosphere had calmed down, but the meticulousness and concentration were still evident on each face, because at this moment, each fish had real value. The night was still not over, the sea breeze was still cold, but the joy of a good harvest warmed the whole ship. Each fish sorting session was like closing a chapter of the journey, tiring but full of achievements. Food, fresh water, salt, dried food, spices, were packed neatly into each sack by the fishermen, not for fun, but to prepare for many days drifting in the blue sea, without land, without markets. And then, the important moment came. One by one, people joined forces to pull the heavy iron anchor up from the bottom of the water, a signal for a new journey to begin. The sea was calm, the sky was clear, but no one knew what was waiting ahead. All we knew was that once the anchor was lifted, there was no turning back. The fishermen began to cast their nets. Each section of green net hundreds of meters long gently slid off the deck, falling into the clear blue water of the ocean. Every knot, every action was done precisely. No rush, no mistakes, because just one tangle of the net could mean the loss of the entire catch. The night was dark, the lights on the deck flickered, but their hands were still nimble, practiced as if they knew each mesh of the net by heart. Each rope, each heavy net was pulled up, and the excitement also rose with each meter of net collected. No one knew for sure what was inside this net. Only faith, experience, and consensus guided the way. Each fresh tuna, its silver body shining in the early morning light, was carefully and neatly picked up by the fishermen into the basket. Each fish at this point is no longer a sea warrior, but becomes a precious asset that needs to be carefully preserved before being transferred to the cold storage. The sea is still there, the sun is rising, and the children of the sea continue their work, quietly, but proudly. Because for them, this is not just fish, but rice, clothes, life. Behind every voyage, there is always a person holding the steering wheel. In the cockpit, eyes focused, hands firmly holding the wheel. That is the captain, the soul of the ship. In front of him is the compass, the radar waves, the sea map with dense coordinates. But most importantly, it is the experience and courage of decades of sailing. When he nods, everything is ready. When he turns the wheel, the whole ship seems to have an extra heartbeat. Dawn gradually appeared on the horizon. The first light of the day painted sparkling golden streaks on the sea surface. And in that scene, the ship began to cut through the waves, heading straight out to sea. Behind is the shore, the mainland, the family yacht. Ahead is the vast ocean, where nothing is certain except fate and experience.
Each net bag heavy with fresh fish was lifted by the crane, swayed in the air, then lowered into the hold with the rhythmic coordination of the entire fishing team. Everyone strained to hold the rope tightly. Each movement was decisive, without deviation, because if one hand slipped, the whole batch of fish could collapse into the sea. And behold, the result of a long night of effort appeared before our eyes. A giant net bag full of fresh fish, lifted up in the light, sparkling like a treasure in the middle of the ocean. Each fish is a part of the effort, a part of the faith, a part of the sweat of the whole crew. No more waiting, no more worrying, just radiant joy and the feeling of winning big spreading throughout the boat. The entire boat was full of fish covered the net, their silver scales shining under the night light, like coins from the ocean that had just fallen. The fishermen were restless and climbed onto the net. Some held the rope, some collected them. All actions were urgent but full of excitement. They had won not by luck, but by their own persistent work and great team spirit. Fishermen bent down to collect each fish, their shirts soaked in sweat, their backs bent from labour, but their eyes sparkled with joy. No one complained about the hardship, because this was the moment they were most true to their profession. Fish filling the boat, not only a story of a good harvest, but also a testament to resilience, to the spirit of not giving up in the midst of storms. The BNMCNH behind each pull of the net, each fish brought into the hold, is a pair of hands silently keeping the rhythm of the entire ship. In the small, narrow engine room, the dim yellow light and the rumbling sound of the engine, the person controlling the wheel is still highly concentrated, eyes on the radar screen, hands tightly gripping the steering wheel. The whole journey from preparing, dropping the net, pulling the net, to each fish being brought up is a combination of experience, strength and passion for the ocean. If you find this video inspiring, don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on exciting trips ahead. Thank you for watching and see you in the next videos, where the ocean is always an exciting journey. Under the midday sun, the fish's body glows a brilliant yellow-green, not only beautiful to look at, but also a sign of a delicious meal ahead. Each fish like this does not come from luck, but from patience, skill, and a lifelong commitment to the sea. On the small boat, the fishermen quietly packed up, their eyes looking far away to the horizon. The sea was still blue, the waves still lapped, and the spirit of going out to sea was still as burning as the first day. Each trip is a challenge, but also an opportunity to understand more about the value of labour, of the connection between humans and nature. If you find this journey inspiring, please like, subscribe to the channel and share the video to give more motivation to the children of the sea.